to say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right. First and foremost, we thank each and every one of you once again for the co-creation of this interaction. It is always our passion and our pleasure to interact with each and every and all of you. This transmission has been titled, "The Past, the Present, and the Future Are Within You." And we will get to that in a moment. But let us give a brief recap about the concept of time. First and foremost, you have now for many years been talking about the idea that time is an illusion, and it is. In that sense, it isn't quote-unquote real, but it is real as an experience. And you create it with your consciousness in a very specific way. As many of you are beginning to realize, there are an infinite number of probable realities that, in a sense, overlap all at once, simultaneously, coexisting with what you consider your reality to be. And the idea is that time is a side effect created by shifting the focus of your consciousness through different parallel reality frameworks, literally billions of times per second. It's like your movie projector is your consciousness, focusing through different frames on a so-called film strip of reality. And as you illuminate frame by frame by frame by frame, you create this illusion, this projection of time and space and movement and change. Each and every frame has no movement in and of itself, no experience in and of itself. So you have to create the idea of continuity, one frame after another in linear terms, to create this idea, this projection, this holographic structure you call physical reality, space, time. Now, the idea of creating this is to give you a particular experience that allows you to forget that you are a greater being, and then go through a process of remembering that you are a greater being, but from a new point of view, a new discovery, a new perspective of yourself. This is how creation expands, because you see, the structure of existence never changes. What changes, what expands creation, is your relationship to, your reflection of, your perspective of, and your experience of that structure that never changes. So by creating these different perspectives, these different points of view of the same structure, you continue to expand creation, and all that is can experience itself in all the ways that it's possible to experience itself through each and every one of your unique viewpoints, being reflections of all that is. But the idea now is that for many millennia, you have been dealing with this concept of time in certain ways, but now it's time to start dealing with time in a different way. First and foremost, by even knowing and understanding that it is your projection, that it is a side effect of your consciousness, shifting these billions of times per second, the product of knowing that, the product of becoming aware that you're already shifting that quickly, is what creates this sensation you call acceleration. It's not that you actually accelerate or shift any faster than you have always been shifting. It's that by becoming more aware of the rate of shift, you experience it as a reflection in your physical reality more and more and more, and it appears as if your reality is actually accelerating. This expands your senses so that you can see more, feel more, be in touch with more things from a broader perspective, a higher point of view. And it allows you to experience physical reality as more flexible, more malleable, more plastic, where you can experience things like synchronicity more often, and other kinds of side effects of space and time that allow you to know that it is your projection, that it is your creation, and you can begin to have more conscious awareness of how to use it artistically to your advantage. The idea now, as we titled this, is that you have for a long time been anchored to this concept of the past creating your present. And as we have said many times, this is not actually true. It may be a description of the kind of experience you're having, but there's a big difference between a description of an experience from your space-time point of view and a description of the actual mechanism underlying the experience. two very different things very often. So the idea that you experience in space-time is that your past generates your present. In truth, your present generates your past. Because there is only now. There is only here. This is the only place you exist. It is the only place you create from. Therefore, when you define who and what you are in this present experience of yourself, by changing yourself literally into a different person every moment, and I mean this literally, it's not a metaphor, every moment, any change, total and complete change, you are a different person literally, on a different version of Earth literally, in a different multiverse literally. Therefore, every single time you change yourself, by whatever amount or degree, in whatever way, you are truly a new person. So in working through the idea of the framework of space-time, to make it make sense, logically, as you say, you have to have, linearly speaking, a new past that determines how you became the person you are now in the present that's different. So every single time you become a different person, that different person has a new past. Now, the idea may not seem to be that. You may go, well, I remember being this, and I remember being that, and that doesn't seem to have changed. But the point is, you don't actually know whether it's changed or not. Because when you become a new person and create a new past, it's going to seem from your present perspective that you always had that past, because that's the only past that makes sense for the person you are now. You don't know how many pasts you may have had in this life you call a single lifetime. The idea is that your history is constantly dynamically changing. When you understand that's how it works, when you understand that that's a description of the actual underlying mechanism at work, then regardless of what the experience appears to be, you will start to realize that you are changing your past every moment that you change yourself by any degree of definition, and that means you are free truly to experience whatever you prefer to experience, unlocking yourself from the idea of anything in the past that controls you in the present, which it doesn't. You simply create the illusion of continuity that in the present recreates the idea of the so-called memory, but the memory is not of the past. You're recreating that memory in the present as part of the definition of your present self. So if you break continuity and stop defining yourself that way, you actually will experience the results of having a different past, because it will show you that you have a completely different present that has nothing at all to do with what the past used to be for whoever that other person was that is no longer you. Is this making some sense? We understand that sometimes these higher dimensional concepts can seem a little bit challenging, a little bit confusing, but don't worry, you'll get used to it. The idea is that you are beginning to think multidimensionally, and this is why we share multidimensional perspectives with you, because it stretches your ability to really experience yourself as a multidimensional being, which is what you are. Please remember that the idea is your greater self is your natural state. You are not really naturally physical people. You are greater non-physical entities, non-physical consciousness. You never really actually leave what we'll call the spirit realm. You have never left it. You're there right now, dreaming that you're not. That's what physical reality is. A dream you are having in spirit that you're no longer in spirit. So when you wake up from the physical dream, you go, oh, that was just a dream. This is who I really am. Much in the same way when you are physical and wake up from a dream, no matter how real the dream seemed in your sleep time, you wake up and go, oh, that was just a dream. Very real dream, but that was just a dream, and this is who I really am. The same thing will happen when you transition into spirit. Oh, that was just a dream. This is who I really am, but I can learn from that dream. What is it I went there to learn? What is it I dreamt I needed to know? That's what you will do. But continuing on with the idea of how you use space and time in a new way, in this new understanding, is that, as we have said, for a long time, you anchored yourself into this concept of the past. But now, as you transition and you start living more in the present, you begin to realize that you are free to choose where the so-called influence actually comes from. If you want to create this concept of continuity and being influenced by something, you can switch the idea of being influenced from your so-called past to starting to be influenced from your so-called future self. Because even in this life, you have future selves every moment. Now you are here, now you are here, now you are here. But this here was the future of that first now you are here. So the idea is that every moment as you're shifting again billions of times per second, you can begin to shift your focus forward, so to speak, still living in the present, but understanding that you're now drawing information, energy, and experience, not so much from the past anymore, unless it serves you to do so, but now from the future you, who is urging you and encouraging you forward and forward and forward into your higher self, into the self you prefer to be. And as this switch occurs, and as this focus shifts, you will begin to feel more communication from the higher mind, more synchronicity in your life, because you know that the future you, or what you deem to be the future you, is living that way. And so as that becomes more real for you, as you in the future become more real to you in the present, in the same way that the you in the so-called past has been real for you for so long, as you shift that focus to the future you and that becomes more real, you will gain more insight. You will be able to be and mirror that version of you more and more easily, more and more effortlessly, and you will start living the life in the present of what you deem the future to be. Is this making some sense? So you are shifting your focus now because, again, as we say, the so-called past and the present and the future all exist within you. There is no out there. It is a reflection, just like a mirror in your reality. If you're looking in a mirror and you see your reflection frowning, you don't go over to the mirror and shout at it to change the reflection. The only way the mirror will be able to smile at you is if you smile first. If you are waiting for the outer reality to change to make a difference in your life, you will wait forever. But when you decide to change, no matter what's going on around you in the reflection, that is proof of true change, because you're not making your change conditional on what's going on in the outer reflection. You're saying that doesn't really matter to me, because I know that I can allow anything to serve me in a positive way. I am not basing my state of being on the old-fashioned, outdated meanings that others have given to what's going on in this reality. I get to decide what this means. I get to decide what the definitions are that work for me, because I am my own reality. I am my own unique point of view, and I get to say what goes. So the idea is for you to start relaxing the old definitions and realize at any given moment what definitions you are applying to things that don't work for you, and start applying definitions that do. Because as you have experienced, existence is going to support you no matter what you choose. It doesn't really contradict you. It can't. Again, in the same way that the mirror can't contradict you for whatever your facial expression is. It has to give you back what it is you're giving off. That's simply the way it's structured. So if it has supported you when you're frowning and given you negative synchronicity, why wouldn't it support you when you decide to smile and get positive synchronicity? It will not contradict you. It absolutely will not, because it's waiting for you to determine who you are, what state of being you prefer, so it can reflect that to you. It doesn't care what you choose because it's unconditionally supportive. That's what unconditional means. You are so unconditionally supported, in fact, you are even allowed to believe that you are not unconditionally supported. That's how unconditionally supported you are. So if you can believe that you are not unconditionally supported, you're not going to be contradicted when you start to believe that you are supported unconditionally. It's just that you have the control. So allow yourself to take the time to explore the idea of connecting more to your own future self in this life, knowing that your future self is already experiencing simultaneously the kinds of things that you prefer to experience in your life now, in the present, so that you can act more like that version of you and become more like that version of you in the new presents that keep coming as you flow your projector light through the present frame, present frame, present frame, present frame. And by acting on your passion and staying in your center and staying in the positive state and extracting the benefit from whatever is happening, then you navigate yourself through all the frames that are more and more and more and more indicative and reflective of that reality you say you prefer to experience, because you're the one creating that within yourself. It's not coming from outside, it's coming from within you. One final very important thing is that to remember, it doesn't matter what happens. It matters what you do with what happens. That's what makes the difference in your reality. It makes all the difference in the world. Does that make sense? Yes. Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to share this idea. Let it sink in its own good time. Make it your own. Use it how you will. And have fun with it. Remember, the first step toward enlightenment is to lighten up. Don't take things so seriously. Have some fun. It's a process. Life is a process, but it can be an energizing, exciting, ecstatic, synchronistic one if you allow it to be. Each and every one of you has a current in the ocean of creation that is unique to you. Going with the flow means you allow yourself to know that the current knows where you need to go. Go with that flow. Don't resist. Don't swim upstream. Unless, of course, you enjoy pain. The idea is to know that surrender is not surrendering control. Surrender is surrendering to the control that's already innately built into you. Allow it to express itself through synchronicity, through imagination, through being here and now, which is all there is. In return for the gift that you are allowing our civilization to experience in each and every one of you, I ask you now, in what way may we be of service to you? Please begin with your questions and dialogue, if you wish.
So, are you ready? Okay.
In my life,
Yes.
in the next future or two, what do you expect to play out? As far
I don't
as
expect anything.
what can you see to play out as far as business goes
On your world?
in my life?
In your life specifically?
Yes.
Well, what are you excited to do? It must be representative of your excitement. If it is going to be something that will play out in a way that is beneficial to you. Yes?
Yes.
Well, what would you like to act on?
Make more money.
Make more money? That's what you want the business to be about?
No, actually I don't.
Well, thank you. So you see, you have said something that's actually not representative of your excitement. You've just described nothing more than a side effect. What actually excites you to do?
Help people.
In what way does it excite you to do so?
See them happy.
By doing what?
Well, whatever makes them happy.
Which would be what? You are allowed to determine specifically in what way you would like to participate that might give them an opportunity to choose to be happy. So is there some particular methodology or expression that would be representative of your happiness?
Not that I can think of right now.
All right, well then when you think of it, act on it to the best of your ability with absolutely no insistence on what the outcome ought to look like. Yes?
Yes.
That's how it works. And the idea of being supported is to relax your definition of abundance so that money can be there when it needs to be, but so that other forms of abundance can be there when money isn't necessarily the path of least resistance.
But let's say you're really happy playing basketball every day.
All right.
But you can't support.
How do you know?
So you just have to act on faith.
You act on knowledge. that by acting on what is your highest excitement at any given moment, which probably won't necessarily mean you're playing basketball every day, let the excitement organize what will actually work for you every day, because excitement is the organizing principle. But nevertheless, whatever it is, if it is truly the most exciting thing you can do at every moment, to the best of your ability, with no assumption of the outcome, something will happen synchronistically to give you an opportunity to be supported by the things that you're doing that are representative of your excitement.
I see. So just go with the flow.
Let me give you a story. You may or may not have heard this story before, but it is something that occurred to someone on your planet, so you will understand that I'm not just making up an idea. This is something that actually worked for a physical person on your planet, and this will act as an illustration of what we are discussing. Did you hear us tell the story about the mother that loved to tell stories to her children?
No.
This mother, her greatest joy in life was telling stories to her children, making stories up for them. It was so exciting to her to do this that she made fantastic stories. Her imagination knew no bounds, and her children were enthralled, mesmerized by the stories that she would create, because so free was her imagination. And so excited was she to tell these stories and make them up. The stories were so thrilling that the children started to invite their own friends over to listen to the stories. The stories were so thrilling that the friends of her children started to invite their parents over to tell the stories. The stories were so thrilling that the parents started offering to pay her to come to groups to tell stories. Now, many people on your planet would have thought that a mother just telling stories to her children would never be a way that she could possibly support herself. Yet that's exactly what happened. Because she was willing to act on her excitement and to know that in some way, shape, or form, her ability to continue to express her highest excitement would be supported in whatever way that needed to be it money or be it other forms of abundance. So the idea, however, is that on any given day, to use your example, the most exciting thing you might find that you would like to do might be to play basketball. However, you may also find that in the same day, suddenly, the excitement to play basketball may wane. And when it then wanes and lowers and lessens, you may look around at all the opportunities available to you at that moment and say, well, all right, the excitement has kind of gone out of that idea, but where has it gone? What now is the most exciting thing I could act on out of all the options available to me at this moment? Maybe that at that moment you will find that you are hungry, and thus then having lunch or having lunch with a friend would be the most exciting thing you can imagine doing. Act on it to the best of your ability, with no assumption or insistence or expectation as to what the outcome should be. Just act on it to the best of your ability if that is the thing that actually contains the highest excitement at that moment. Because you never know where it's actually going to lead you. But you will know, generally, that it will always lead you to another circumstance and situation that will provide you the opportunity to continue to act on your highest excitement and allow your excitement to expand. You see, excitement is not only the driving engine of your life, but it is the organizing principle of your life. And it is the complete toolkit of your life. And when you act on it knowing that that's what it is, you will know that no matter what winding path it may lead you on, it is always going to be the quickest path because it's the path of least resistance. And it will always lead you into the situations and circumstances and synchronistic encounters with people that are going to be the encounters and the timings that actually work best for you and will bring to you other opportunities and open other doorways for other expressions of your excitement. This is a self-fulfilling kit. That's how it works. At every given moment, step by step, on whatever scale it occurs, just choose the opportunity made available to you by your life that contains the highest excitement. Act on it to the best of your ability, taking it as far as you can till you can take it no further, with no assumption or insistence or expectation as to what the outcome ought to be. And when you are done with that, then choose the next most exciting thing that your life presents to you as an opportunity you have the ability to act on. In coming to this conversation today, were you not acting on your excitement?
That was the most exciting thing.
Then that's all you need to keep doing. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah,
When you leave this conversation, you will look and say, there are a number of opportunities available to me. I can go here, I can go there, I can do this, I can do that. Out of all the options that you are aware of, pick the one that feels most exciting, that you have the greatest ability to act on. And act on it. And just keep doing that. And that's all you need to do. When we talk about the idea of acting on your excitement, it doesn't have to be expressed as a career, a project, or any long-term arrangement. We mean literally moment to moment to moment. Every moment you're offered options. I can leave, I can go, I can stay, I can eat, I can read, I can jump, I can walk, I can play, I can go to the movies, I can do this, I can drive my car, I can fly, I can go here, I can go there. Pick the one that is the most exciting one you have some ability to take action on, and take action as far as you can. And that's as far as you need to take it. And then act on the next most exciting thing, and the next, and the next, and the next, in the same way, one after another, step by step, until the end of the day when you feel that you are excited about going to sleep because you're tired, and you will know that whatever didn't get done that day didn't need to be done. Because excitement, as we said, is not only the driving engine in the toolkit, it's the organizing principle. And if you're always acting on it fully, truly, to the best of your ability, with no expectation for what the outcome ought to be, then it will show you exactly in the course of any given day how many things need to be acted upon. And what doesn't get acted upon didn't need to be acted upon that day. That's how it works. It's a complete kit. Trust it. Act on it. All right?
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes.
And when you do that, if there then is an expression, a broader expression, a bigger expression of your excitement, a career, a project, what have you, by just acting on the little steps, they will lead you to the bigger opportunities, because all excitement is connected. It doesn't matter what package the excitement comes in. It's not about how it looks. As you people on your planet say, you cannot judge a book by the cover. So don't assume that just because something doesn't look like you expected it to look, if it actually contains the excitement, act on it, because the excitement is telling you that it's actually connected to any other expression of your excitement that would also come to you, and it may lead you there in an unexpected way. Again, it doesn't matter if your path is winding. If it's the path of least resistance, the path that's true for you, which you would know it is by simply acting on the excitement that it brings you, then it's actually the quickest path. Even if there is a path that is shorter and straighter, if it's not the path of least resistance, it will be the more difficult and longer path than one that may be many times longer and much more winding. But if it's the path of least resistance, it will actually be the quicker path, because there's no resistance. Make sense?
Yes.
Does this help you?
Yes.
Then at this timing, we will express our deep appreciation and gratitude to each and every one of you for the co-creation of this interaction.